United resume proceedings, looking for 3 goals without reply to win the International Champions Cup. Milan simply want to register a point, as they are the only team of the 12 in this tournament who've yet to get one. But already Rashford is on the run. Martial trots into the penalty area. Pereira's at the back post. Rashford just hesitates. He did spot the run of Luke Shaw. United lose the momentum.
2 touches have let them down there, United, and that initial one over the top to Rashford really should be putting him in on goal. It doesn't. It takes him wider, waits for support. Then in the second phase of that attack, a good pass into Luke Shaw. Should be controlled better. If it was, he would have been out of turn and get a strike on the goal. But a little reminder straight away for AC Milan how quick United are out of the blocks.
Certainly need a bit more urgency at the start of the second half compared to the way they ended the first. Shaw being marshalled by Barini, and Rashford being taken out by Belia.
Rashford sees the defender coming at pace, just puts the brakes on, draws the foul. Clever play. But what we're talking about United in terms of these second halves, and it's more or less a mirror image of Solskjaer's reign as manager, really. He came out of the block so strong in that initial phase of his tenure at United. That momentum got him the job, but the second part was woeful. That's what they need to address, that they have to be more consistent, because they are potentially a very good team.
Shaw with a strike from distance. Barini, who's defended really well today, getting his body in the way to deny Shaw.
Well, it's not without cost. He's took a couple of blows to that right end Achilles. He's back defending. He's probably doing far more defending than he would like. I'm sure he'd rather be influencing the game in that attacking third, but he hasn't been able to.
So the Brazilian Pereira to take the corner. 4 players hanging around the edge of the 6-yard area. Donnarumma, if he was English or British, would have caught that.
You question the decision-making there to even put that delivery right in the middle of the 6-yard box. Milano, zonal marking. They've literally got 7 players in and around that area, so it has to be some ball, some run to get on the end of it. Expect them to work it short, look to move them about a little bit.
Shaw again. And it goes to Martial, who's onside. Couldn't return the compliment to Luke Shaw, but does well in winning the ball back for United. But has he taken it out of play? Again, no, ball still in field. United pressing. Pereira, Shaw, Mata, all in that corner of the field. And here is Juan Mata again.
Oh, cheap foul. AC Milan struggling to play out there. Initial ball goes over the first press, but Matic reads the situation, keeps the pressure on, puts the ball back into their defensive third for Milan. United just let him off the hook there with a cheap free. Barini's going to be black and blue tomorrow.
Well, their next pre-season match is against Thoronikeli, the Kosovan champions. That's away from home next Saturday. Their Serie A season doesn't start for another 3 weeks. They're away at Udinese on the opening weekend of the campaign.
We talked about the transfer business of United with only a few days left of the window. Of course, in mainland Europe, that window stays open longer. I wonder what work, what business Milan will do in terms of recruiting. Is it obviously the fact that Cutrone's gone out allows them to maybe spend some money, or is it just a case of getting back in line with the financial fair play? Obviously the very reason why they're not in Europe this season.
Samu into Çalhanoğlu, geared up for a shot. He's onside.
Brilliant play.
I think Piatek thought he was offside.
But that's poor though. Play to the whistle. Centre forwards take the opportunity to put in the back of the net. And Wan-Bissaka stepped up, unknowingly, McTominay is playing everyone on as a midfielder. That's the problem as a defensive unit. You come up as a 4, those stray midfielders have to get out of there. And it's a beautiful reverse pass that takes United's back four completely out of it. Piatek's got to have more composure, more awareness to get a strike on goal better than he did.
There was a rueful look to the huge TV screen above his head from Piatek.
What was your first reaction? More often than not is when I made a mistake, I'll be looking up at that screen thinking, was it as bad as I thought?
Wan-Bissaka at the other end into Mata. Looks up, early ball in, too close to Donnarumma.
Now the idea is right, that's why Mata plays on that right-hand side, similar to Suso, can come onto that strong left foot, put those whip balls in. No surprise that Rashford from left wing doesn't hang about out there, attacks across that Milan defence. And more often he does that this season, the more goals he will get.
Excellent running by Rashford to get into a safe place. We saw a fair bit of Wan-Bissaka near the beginning, but not much of an outlet in the latter part of the first half.
For any United fans seeing him now for the first time, I know it's pre-season, I know this is a competitive cup as such, but he's below his standards that he's set so far. I know the conditions, as you quite rightly said, very hot. They've had a heavy workload, of course they are. And now that will just taper down now as we approach next weekend and the start of the Premier League. So it's no surprise that some of these players will be fatigued, more so than you would hope. But this 7 or 8 days now until the first game of the season allows you just to recover, just to get all that energy back inside you and get the benefit of that hard work you've done in pre-season.
Milan being put under pressure. Mata very, very close to guiding that on to Martial. And Lindelöf caught, who's gone down in pain as Milan come away with it. Suso, Lindelöf is still down, and Milan have decided to put the ball out of play to allow treatment for the Swede.
He took contact on his right ankle. He's not particularly happy with it. He feels that the recovering Milan player just stamps on his foot. I think replays probably showed that Lindelöf is right to have a case there. I'm sure the Milan player will say, listen, I'm only a couple of weeks back, my time is not quite there, sorry.
Lucas Biglia, vastly experienced in that Milan midfield.
He does a great job at the base of that midfield. Playmaker from looks to make him play in terms of getting them going as such, but can put his foot in when he needs to. Just an example there of it.
It's going to require some ice once he's off the pitch.
Magic spray.
Does have Phil Jones and Chris Smalling on his bench, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, so there'll be no reason to take any risks. Barini looks up, sees Çalhanoğlu. Piatek again trying to hold his line, does well. Up against Wan-Bissaka. Support from Rodriguez, who we've not seen charging down the left flank as so often he does, particularly for Switzerland.
And certainly what Hernandez was given this AC Milan team before his injury from there as well. But what we did see there was an example of Wan-Bissaka's strength. His recovery pace is brilliant, it really is. For a player who started off as a right winger, he's got real tenacity in defensive situations like that. Coached at Crystal Palace, converted into a fullback by Richard Shaw, an ex-teammate of mine, and he's done a brilliant job.
Rodriguez looking to head it on to Çalhanoğlu. Referee's taking it back. And they're keeping themselves ready for action. The substitutes of both Milan and United. Ashley Young amongst the United substitutes.
You want the opportunity to just put down a marker. You want to be in that first 11 for the first game of the season.
Rashford, who put United in front, got the Sakio for company and overran it in the end. Marcus Rashford, along with Martial, Lingard, Daniel James prior to this game, and then Wan-Bissaka. They played the most minutes in pre-season. It's quite telling, isn't it?
Does suggest that they're certainly at the forefront of Solskjaer's thoughts, and there's some real pace in that front line, as you rightly said. Daniel James, an absolute flying machine, has to learn when and when to release the ball in terms of impacting at this level, but he looks a player of real promise.
Good strong defensive header from Lindelof. Mata. And Martial. Mata, who'll come up against his former club on the opening weekend of the season. Mata drives it in, spots the run of Shaw, nods it down for Rashford. Matic with a foot in, but it just breaks down. United good at winning it back, and then there's a foul by Barini.
Barini just giving a little bit of the medicine that he's had to have this game, slightly later. Rojo saw one again there, just lunging to win the ball. You take contact then on that inside of your ankle.
The International Champions Cup doesn't actually come to an end until next weekend. The games have been spread over the last few weeks in several countries. Many of them played in the United States, but the format seems to work.
Yeah, I've really enjoyed it. Obviously, we're seeing the established stars of these major teams, but we're seeing the next generation coming through. I talked about the very fact that Bayern Munich have brought 8 youth team players on their tour. We've seen it with Arsenal, we saw it with Tottenham, the likes of Parrott up front at 17.
Mata with a free kick flicked on by Lindelof. Donnarumma just teasing Nemanja Matic before claiming the ball. I mentioned earlier that these two clubs met in this competition a year ago. It's been a long time since they met in a fully competitive fixture. It was the round of 16 of the UEFA Champions League in February and March of 2010, so almost a decade ago. United very impressive over 2 legs. They won 3-2 in Milan before a comprehensive 4-0 second leg win took them through to the quarter-finals.
Both clubs, unfortunately, obviously brilliant clubs. There's an opportunity now for United.
Pereira, you can see what he was trying to do. He's trying to deaden the ball into the far corner, but it's a very hard technique to do when it's coming across you.
He never was set, it didn't seem. He was bouncing into him, looking to cut across that ball, maybe fade it into that far post. But the last moment, he goes side foot rather than cuts across it with his laces. Just seeing Lindelof, that looks like a worked routine. Make the opposing defence drop deep. Lindelof then goes for that shorter ball to get a head on it. Just doesn't trouble the keeper. But in terms of that 2010 Champions League game between both these teams, neither of these teams now operating at that level. And that's the frustration, that reduced status of both clubs.
Piatek is away from Shaw. He's got Samu in the middle. That's a brilliant recovery from Luke Shaw. Samu was unmarked in the middle. And that is a classic sliding tackle, which the man next to me will very much appreciate.
That's a brilliant recovery tackle. Initially, that Piatek makes that run down the side of centre-half again. You're worrying then. Timing of the tackle has to be perfect. I just felt Piatek could have passed that across the box earlier. Cassiao was at the edge of the box looking to tap that in. He's a strong runner in those situations, Piatek, isn't he? You can see why he troubles defences.
Ball driven in, flicked on towards the far post and in. And it will have taken a deflection, but Samu Castillejo is claiming it. David De Gea left motionless, and from trailing so early on, Milan now lead after an hour in Cardiff.
Look at this initial phase here. Push the ball in the box. And we said about having leaders in your defensive unit, that when the opposition play it short, how do you react? How do you recover from your original designated starting position? And you have to say that United haven't done it well enough there.
Well, he doesn't look overly pleased, but Milan have the lead. It took a deflection off Lindelöf from Castillejo's header, but he will claim it, especially if it was heading towards the far corner.
Saying about deflections, but there shouldn't be a free header in your box there in scenarios like that. It's just those decision makings, right? They're playing it short, adjust, squeeze up the pitch, get them up to the 6-yard box. Who are you marking? Right, I'll pass him on to you. There's none of that. And we're still waiting for that confirmation, but that is what someone like Maguire will give you. That leadership, that physical presence. That when balls do come into the box, especially around that penalty spot, especially around that 6-yard box, they'll be cleared.
Away by Romagnoli.
This will be interesting now. How do United cope? They'll try and force the issue. They'll play on the front foot. Of course they were, in keeping with that whole philosophy, attack, 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 but got it all to do now.
Wan-Bissaka for Mata, the ideal target for a heading opportunity. It's the first time United have conceded 2 goals in a game in pre-season. They now must score 5 to win the tournament. Pereira.
I think the focus right now will be just to win this game. And first stop is, of course, to get level again.
Lindelöf turns away from Piatek. His movement on the Milan bench. Substitutes are imminent.
You can see the Milan players are starting to fatigue now, notably Barini. Great shifting defensively.
Shaw for Rashford. Despite that burst at the start of the second half, United seem to have just lost their gumption.
Yeah, it's been a story that's been too familiar, to be perfectly honest. And I know, and I keep making the point that you don't know how much work they've done going into these games to try and get that fitness in their legs, so they might be fatigued going into it. But the mistakes that they are making, and notably allowing the opposition to get control of the game, it's not about fitness really, it's just about looking after the game, managing it better.
Right, the first of the substitutions is going to involve the Milan goalkeeper, Gianluigi Donnarumma. Replaced by Pepe Reina, relishing the opportunity to come up against Manchester United again. After all those tussles during his Premier League days and those boos ringing out around the stadium. Basically translate as he's a former Liverpool player.
And a good one, otherwise he wouldn't have been booed. 36 years, still relatively young for a keeper as such. You expect him to be around for another 3 or 4 seasons at least. Obviously keeps himself in good shape.
Samu Castillejo has also come off, along with Lucas Bilia. They're replaced by Rada Krunic, the Bosnian, who joined from Empoli on a 5-year deal only 4 weeks ago. The other change has seen Andre Silva come on, and now United are making a host of changes.
Yeah.
Mata leading the way off the field, along with Matic. Fred, the first on.
Number 18, Ashley Young. Number 21, Daniel James. And number 38.
Massive roar for Daniel James. I wonder why. Oh, yeah, it was Welsh.
They love their own.
Lingard also on, so a host of changes by United.
Yeah, we can see now Fred goes into that holding position instead of Matic. And Xavi goes to centre-half. Young to right-back. James to right wing, so we can see that. Lingard in that 10 area. So they've got some real energy still. And notably, this young man, who has blistering pace, he really does.
And if my eyes aren't deceiving me, United made 5 changes there. Young, Twensabe, Fred, Lingard and James are the players on the pitch as we approach the midway point of the second half, with Milan leading and looking like getting their first points on the board. Suso, who got their equaliser, into Çalhanoğlu. They look much more lively than United.
Yeah, Suso got the equaliser, but to give them control in that central midfield area, getting on that ball.
Barini cross flicked on by the substitute.
Opportunities, bad defending again. It's frustrating to highlight it because I look at Lindelof and think there's been so much improvement on him. But look at his starting position for this cross. Why is he past the near post? There's no need to be there. As a result, Twensabe has to come all the way narrow up. And it's a free header.
Andre Silva with the effort.
That ball goes wide. Centre half, just get in line with that near post and say to yourself, OK, I'm protecting this now. We've probably seen one of the most iconic centre halves, John Terry, a master of that. How many times do you see him clear those types of deliveries? Because as centre forward, if you get in that position, it's not going to run across the front of you because there's no chance of him scoring.
Milan working the ball really well. Out to this near side to find Krunic. Now Rodriguez into Suso. Now Barini worked it well from right to left and back again. Opportunity for Silva. Didn't get the purchase on the ball he would have liked, but already he's had 2 attempts on goal. Confirmation of the substitutions. Andres Pereira making way for James. Matic for Fred. Jesse Lingard, unsurprisingly, in for Mata. Axel Twensabe replacing Marcus Rojo. And the final change, Ashley Young in for Aaron Wan-Bissaka.
To really get a foothold in this game now, United, obviously to force the issue. It's been far too comfortable for this Milan team to pass the ball about. Draw fouls as they've done again, that's cheap. That's the frustration that United got to be wary of. Just stops any momentum being built for United, just allows AC Milan to manage the game well, masters of it, of course. Trying to add to the stereotype of Italian defenders, but they know how to kill a game. Obviously, Andre Silva comes on up front. Probably still got a point to prove. That broken down move to Monaco looked like he was on his way. That hasn't happened. Whether or not he stays for the remainder of the season, we still don't know. But they've got more energy in there now. Krunic has come on. He'll give them that in that midfield area as well. So the frustration is now that they give away cheap passes like that.
Gianpaolo will be pleased. Doesn't look that pleased on the face of it, but he will be pleased with the ways the team have recovered, especially given the fact they played half as many pre-season matches as Manchester United.
And it's still so new to him in terms of how he wants them to play. But they're buying into it, you can tell, in terms of the work rate, the endeavour to get back into good defensive positions out of possession, notably the likes of Barini, who's a flair player by trade, but he's put a real shift in. Not convinced he'll last much longer, though. He's treading water a bit now.
Daniel James being roared on by many of his fellow Welsh men and women. Space for Young. Crosses deep. Shaw takes it first time and he hits that on the up. Really well struck from Shaw, just off the target. But a clean hit nonetheless.
He's picked up the flight brilliantly. Solskjaer will be delighted with this. Young in an advanced position, winger by trade, should be able to pick people out, does so. And then the opposite flank, the other full-back in advanced area to get a strike on goal. Connects well with it, but just cuts across it at the last moment.
It's hard to believe, really. He's about to start his 6th season at United. I know he was out for so long with injuries.
That was a dreadful injury, and there's a time then when His mental attitude was questioned, which is probably one of the worst things you can have as a professional player. Obviously, he looks like he's got his confidence back under Solskjaer. I think he was Player of the Year last season. I know the standard wasn't that high as such, by United standards certainly.
Good running cross from James. Warmly applauded around the stadium, followed by the boos for Reina. Pepe Reina turns 37 later this month. Ashley Young is only a couple of years behind him.
Better by United. I think they've been passive at times in that midfield third. Milan passing the ball far too easily. Much better, tenacious, closing it down, blocking passing channels, and they set themselves up for a chance here.
Lingard, excellently executed by Jesse Lingard. Finds the fine corner to the delight of the Manchester United fans inside the Principality Stadium. Back on level terms. But time is running out if they want to win the trophy. Manchester United 2, AC Milan 2.
Brilliant play. Lingard receives that ball initially on his right-hand side, looks for support, the option of passing it, realises that he's got an opportunity to go down the outside of the defender, then he's coming onto his weaker left side, but you would have thought so. That's a brilliant finish, low, hard, far corner. Pepe Reina at 37, as you said, very difficult to get down, such was the strike. Great goal.
First goal of pre-season for Jesse Lingard, perfectly timed ahead of the Premier League start next weekend, or next Friday in actual fact.
You want to be giving little reminders to your manager. Listen, don't forget about me. Listen, we talked about the talk about Maguire, Dybala from Juventus as well, and maybe occupying that 10 position or that wide right position. These players currently at Man United, mindset should be, well, you're not taking my place.
Shaw being given a fair bit of space down that left side. Calabria gets away from Fred, is then fouled by the Brazilian. Talk about Lingard and the possible arrival of Dybala. Penny for the thoughts of Chris Smalling and Phil Jones, who didn't start today, and watch all the reports that Harry Maguire's on his way in.
It's par for the course of being a Manchester United player. They have had an opportunity. I'm not saying they're not going to play a major part still. Obviously, both of them have signed contracts recently. But when you play for Manchester United in those key possessions, you've got to be the best of the best. And that's why they've had to pay so much for Maguire. I'm not convinced yet he's a world-class defender. Certainly, I wouldn't put him in the same category as Van Dijk. But there's no doubt he will solve a lot of United's problems. This is what we probably have to see from Solskjaer, is that he has to be able to source these top players, he has to be able to cultivate his own, but he has to have that ability to discard players when they're not good enough, as ruthless as Ferguson did.
Forward it goes towards Piatek. United fans really getting behind their team. A lot of hard running from Piatek throughout this game. Very healthy crowd of almost 66,000 enjoying their night out in Cardiff.
It's been a great atmosphere, even in the build-up, coming towards the stadium, you could feel it. Manchester United were in town, of course. There's still a lot of AC Milan fans as well enjoying it.
Loose pass from Young. Piatek might be in. Good defending by Tuanzebe. Getting in Piatek's way, and there's a real battle for the ball, which McTominay wins. And then has his shirt torn in two, almost.
Look at Tuanzebe, obviously spreads out to play out from the back, but look at that recovery pace. Piatek thinks he's got a side foot on target there, and that's brilliant play by the young centre-half. He's another one. He talked about Smalling and Jones. He may well be frustrated as well. Had a really influence at Aston Villa's promotion. Now, whether or not they let him out on loan to continue that development, because he looks a far better player for it. And you can't replicate playing for points. You genuinely can't, in terms of what it means to make mistakes in front of big crowds, the pressure associated with it. In terms of your learning curve, it's so steep when you get the opportunity to do that.
There's a familiar name on the back of that shirt. More on that in a moment. As a host of AC Milan players are about to enter the fray. You mentioned Barini earlier. He has worked his socks off. And needs a drink. Might he even stay on?
He could not have walked any slower over to get that bottle.
There's the man that scored the equalising goal for Milan, Suso, replaced by Giacomo Bonaventura.
Number 46, Matteo Gabbia. Number 94, Marco Brescianini. And number 98, Daniel Maldini.
Ricardo Rodriguez is also leaving the field.
An opportunity for these young players to wear this famous shirt. And in terms of the fact that they can't compete financially now with the big boys of Europe in the transfer market, they get an opportunity. It's up to them to take it.
Well, Piatek's night is over as well. He's worked hard without any reward on a personal level.
I've enjoyed his performance. Strong, hard running down the sides of centre-halves. Doesn't always look to come short, the easy option.
That is Daniel Maldini, son of Milan legend Paolo Maldini, who's in fact here today. Saw him in the tunnel before the game. Daniel Maldini, 17 years of age.
Well, Maldini's director of sport here. We talked about Boban as well, one of his teammates from that great Milan team. But his son, not for him to play defence. He's a number 10, he wants to score goals. And here's Rashford on the chance for his one.
United's number 10 unable to get the better of the Milan defence. That's cleared away quickly by Pepe Reina. Time running out for United. And Silva is brought down by Tuanzebe. Just to mention Maldini again, he's a third generation of player to play for Milan. Cesare Maldini, Paolo's dad played, managed as well.
No pressure then. No family kickabouts in a garden. Must have been a high standard. But he's a good player. He's a technical player. Plays at number 10. Had a great chance against Bayern Munich. Late run. Came to him, just leant back. Didn't hit the target. But what an opportunity for him now as a young man to be playing first-team football at a club like AC Milan.
He hasn't got just one pair of boots to fill, he's got two. Out comes Reina, who was convinced that Martial was offside. Just a few confirmations of the substitutions. Andrea Conti, Ivan Strinic, the Croatian, have come on, along with Maldini. Like his father, he is more of an attack-minded player.
What would his dad be worth now as an attacking left-back in today's market?
Oh,
incredible. It goes down as one of the all-time greats.
Well, he would hit the 100 million mark, wouldn't he, if he was sold today?
Oh, comfortably, I think. Talked about the pressure for him, and as a young man making his name, such a famous name. But here's an opportunity now for Andre Silva.
It's been played in by Maldini, but Tuanzebe again.
Well done, young man. Brilliant defending. Don't panic, you're in the box. The tackle has to be perfect. Stands his ground. Just works out what the forward's trying to do. He knows that Silva wants to work it, manipulate onto that right-hand side. He's patient, then crowds him out. Brilliant defending, well done.
Axel Tuanzebe, 21 years of age. And he's a big, strong defender, real presence about him.
He has the attributes that you need at centre-half now in terms of that recovery pace, the very fact that you're not going to be covered by your full-backs, you've got to be comfortable in space. And if people talk about Maguire coming in, that's probably one of the areas that he does have a weakness, but he has had that since his League One days for Sheffield United at Hull, and because he's so good at reading situations, he doesn't get exposed to pace. And people talk about having influence like Rio Ferdinand. I akin him more to a Steve Bruce type centre-half. Physical presence, good technically, being able to step in, make passes, and a goal threat as well, like Steve Bruce was.
One of the best centre-backs never to play for England. Here's Maldini looking to feed it through to fellow substitute Bonaventura.
No, Maldini hasn't learned to tackle like his dad.
More substitutions, United this time. Off comes Anthony Martial. And following closely behind is Marcus Rashford, to be replaced by Mason Greenwood and Angel Gomez.
Angel Gomez got a brilliant late winner against Tottenham. Wonderful bit of skill and really attacked down at left wing. Brilliant finish as well, so I'm sure he'll be looking for a repeat of that. Greenwood, well, at 17 years of age, this guy looks a star. No surprise that Solskjaer has said, listen, I'd have no qualm starting him in that first game of the season against Chelsea.
And the two players exchange passes, but the whistle has gone. Greenwood has scored 2 goals in pre-season. He got 1 against Leeds, and then he scored that goal, as I mentioned earlier, against Inter, Milan's rivals. 17 years of age, Gomez 18.
It's in keeping with the philosophy of United, isn't it, in terms of that emergence of youth.
United work it out. Lingard loses it, but it's been won back. All a bit messy, but Gomez picks it up, being urged to shoot. He hasn't got any space to shoot. James then prods it to McTominay. And now Ashley Young always offers himself out wide. Was he body checked there?
So the defender's made himself big. He doesn't have to get out of the way. It's well done there. Good experience.
So unless one of these teams can conjure up a winning goal, we're heading for a penalty shootout. Just decide who gets the majority of the points. 2 on offer for the winner of the shootout, 1 for the loser. 2 won't be enough for United to win the tournament. As it stands, Benfica are going to take the trophy in 2019. The only team to win all 3 of their games. And they beat Milan in one of them. Lingard out to Gomez. Doubling up on the youngster. Now Shaw. Early ball into Gomez, nice turn. Trying to get the better of Musiacchio. And, oh my goodness me, I thought he was going to twist his way through there.
Wonderful skill. So difficult to stop, he's able to just pirouette. There's that low centre of gravity, strong with it. Brilliant bit of skill there initially. Really could have had a corner.
Still barking out instructions, Marco Giampaolo. Formerly of Brescia, Cremonese, Empoli, and most recently Sampdoria. Shaw out to Gomez. Plenty of options in the middle. One of them was Mason Greenwood. He couldn't get the full touch.
He shouldn't be offside there. Gomez is looking along the line. The pace is going to come in terms of his teammate running. He's going to commit the defender. Just stay on side. And he's just too eager. Look, he goes a touch too soon.
Five minutes of the 90 left. Marcus Rashford's opening goal after 14 minutes, equalised by Suso 12 minutes later, before Milan took the lead through Samu, and then Lingard with that equaliser. Bonaventura. Here's Fred. Finds James in space. Greenwood. Lingard is the furthest forward. Back it goes to James. The excitement of youth.
You can feel it. As soon as the likes of Greenwood get that ball, these United fans know about him, such as his stats in the youth team. The very fact that he was such a prominent player from... Gets that ball in that wide right area, and he's so dynamic, drives inside, and if he goes inside on that left foot, he has the ability to hurt you. If you overcompensate then by trying to block it, he then has the belief to drive outside you on his weaker right foot. He really has got so many attributes.
Strinic looks long towards Silva. Good interception by Lindelöf.
United will look to force this now, the last few moments. Lingard's demanding that ball in that little pocket in that 10 area. If he can get on a half turn or rotate with those centre forwards, they can find the space. Here they go again.
Gomez's ball was a little loose, but they've come away with it. Lingard for Young. Now James, can he get there? He can! Hit away by Masaccio. Back to Greenwood. They're bearing down on the Milan penalty area. Milan are standing firm.
And that play by Young just to release James, drives to that byline, cross, middle of the 6-yard box. That's when you want to see United players busting the gut to get across there for what would have been a tap-in. No one disturbed that defender waiting for that cross.
Lingard with his socks rolled down. Two options to his right. One of them is Greenwood. Lingard again. Again, Milan throwing everything at them to deny United a winning goal.
You can see the respect that Greenwood gets, even for a young player. As soon as he drives into that penalty box, there's two Milan defenders around him. That allows Lingard just to drop off into the pocket. But when he takes that pass, he never looks set. Always seems to be off balance.
Bonaventura out wide towards Andre Silva. United will have played 3 Premier League games before Milan's season even starts. Chelsea at home next Sunday. They're away at Wolves the following Monday, and then home to Crystal Palace the day before Milan are at Udinese.
This pre-season's been impressive in terms of the results, but this team has to start well because of the fact that they were so poor at the back end of that season. You're quite right to identify. I think it's a tough start for United. They have Chelsea, Arsenal, Liverpool all at home in those opening 9 games, and the pressure will be on them at Old Trafford to win.
They're being urged on here to win this game. James down the middle. Should he have released it? Well, at least he has a get out of jail free card, although Çalhanoğlu gets the yellow one. Free kick, United in a really good position.
Initially recovering there, Çalhanoğlu looks like he gets a good touch on the ball, but he doesn't. And the giveaway to any player As soon as they put their hand up to say, I didn't touch him, it invariably means they did touch him, otherwise they would not put their hand up.
It's the only yellow card we've seen in this game, and it's come literally just before the 90 minutes are up.
4 people on this ball.
3 minutes of additional time, the minimum, and United have a really good opportunity from this set piece to win the game. They won't win the trophy, but they'll end with maximum points and a full house of wins.
Exactly, maximum wins.
6 wins out of 6 in pre-season.
Fred has spotted the ball, and it's him there. Young's walked away from it. A new rule again, you're not allowed to have people in and around the wall, so Ashley Young's made a decision to stand 5 or 6 yards in front of it to impede the goalkeeper. It'll be Fred on his left foot here.
The Brazilian strikes it! Not low enough.
Seems to get good connection, comfortably beats the wall, but doesn't have to dip right at the last moment. You feel that was the last opportunity. Pressing well here, Milan. Defensive units high line, the halfway line. If United can just work it so they can get half turned and play a little ball over the top. They've got some flying machines up there.
Just a minute left of added time. They'll be thinking about who they'd like to take the penalties. Although in most cases, you're asked first whether you want to. Lingard might be able to stop us having a shootout. Here he goes, Lingard! No power in the shot in the end to trouble Pepe Reina.
Show great power to go through the gears, commit Milan defenders on the edge of the box. Works it brilliantly, suddenly opens up. You're thinking just a good connection, low and hard into the corners. He doesn't manage it, straight down the throat of Pepe Reina. Comfortable save.
Well, we can confidently confirm that Benfica have won the International Champions Cup in 2019.
Congratulations to them.
That's the end of open play, and just like last year when these teams met in this competition, it's ended in a draw, and we're heading for a penalty shootout. Marcus Rashford got us on our way after 14 minutes with the opening goal. Suso equalised 12 minutes later. On the hour, Samu Castillejo made it 2-1 to Milan, and then Lingard, who nearly got the winner there, got the equaliser with 18 minutes left to take us to a shootout. So who will win 2 points from this game, who will take 1? That remains to be seen. But Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's thoughts will probably already be thinking ahead a week to Old Trafford against Chelsea.
All that hard work, that preparation, have you got these players to optimum fitness? Be delighted with how his team start games. I think the concern will be, of course, bearing in mind that they're not at 100% yet, is that how they seem to drift out of it, notably in the second half.
Well, these are the highlights from the 93 minutes that we had. United were the better team for the first quarter of the game and got themselves off the mark with a very neat finish from Marcus Rashford.
It's a brilliant goal. The AC Milan back four is in place, yet his pace runs away from him, then he drives inside. Matic's first fault on forcing that turnover is hit that ball into space to allow Rasha to open his legs up. Now defenders, you've got to be showing him down his left-hand side. The reason why, as soon as you let him to cut inside, this is what happens. You get punished. Brilliant goal.
That was his third goal of pre-season. But then it was Suso who drew him level with an even better finish for Milan.
The concern for United will be how much space he gets in that pocket at 10, that he's able to control the ball, set himself, and then just bend it outside of De Gea's despairing dive. High quality finish.
And Milan got themselves in front, having upped their game after equalising. And it came by the head of Samu Castillejo, albeit by a deflection of Victor Lindelöf.
It's not good enough. Second phase of that corner, too many of those United players are walking, not looking to initially, one, stop the cross, and two, deal with the ball into the box well enough. Got punished as a result.
And then United drew themselves level thanks to Jesse Lingard on as a substitute, cleanly striking it beyond Pepe Reina.
Brilliant finish. Martial this time drops deep, dovetails with Lingard. He leads the line, takes that pass initially on the right hand side, looks for the pass, then works onto that weaker left foot, and it's a brilliant finish.
So 2-2 brings us back to the middle of the field, and Ewan Griffith will marshal this penalty shootout. Pepe Reina, who came on as a substitute, will be the man between the sticks. David De Gea at the other end for Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. Last year's shootout between these two, as we watch the two Spanish goalkeepers, ended 9-8 to United. Did you see Frank Kessie's chip penalty at the end, which gave United the win? It was a rather unorthodox way of taking a penalty. Chipped it way over the crossbar.
You always feel there'll be someone who tries that little dink in these situations.
It was an overdone Panenka.
Oh. The crowd to our right-hand side, they're delighted. A lot of Milan supporters there. They have Pepe Reina and De Gea trying to keep a goal.
Well, the Milan fans are well outnumbered here by their Manchester counterparts, understandably, given it's a much shorter journey from Manchester than it is from Italy. But can United take 2 points for winning the shootout? 1 point to the loser. Always good experience. I know it might not mean a great deal in the grand scheme of things, but great experience for the younger players in a big crowd, because you never know when it might happen in the Champions League or in the FA Cup. Hakan Çalhanoğlu first, up against David De Gea. Cleanly struck by the Turkish international.
Brilliant penalty. Just waits for De Gea to commit himself. Knows that at the last moment he can close that foot and go on the other corner. Perfect penalty. Lingard might be best served taking it with his left foot.
He's been there and done it, hasn't he, Pepe Reina? Jesse Lingard, who took it to penalties, now has a chance to convert one from the spot. And he does so. Reina gets the right way.
Two penalties of the highest quality. Reina does go full length, but such is the accuracy and the pace.
Penalty scored for Man United by number 14, Jesse Lingard.
Next up for Milan is one of their substitutes, Giacomo Bonaventura, experienced midfielder. Milan's second penalty. Can De Gea get to this one? No chance. Finally put away by Bonaventura, calmly, very composed, almost coolly, nonchalantly.
De Gea's going early though, and the players should be able to see that he has gone too early, can just close their foot. I wonder whether he'd be best served just standing still and saying to the penalty taker, right, if you're going to beat me, you're going to have to hit the corners, because he's got great reactions, De Gea. He can close that space.
34-year-old Ashley Young, who made 28 Premier League starts last season, comes up against Reina. Oh, well, there's a comprehensive finish. Have you ever seen one? There's a lot of confidence when you hit the ball like that.
Ashley Young firing a second penalty.
I never doubted him there for one moment. Has that little style where he dresses the ball, then breaks left and comes round on it. So difficult as a goalkeeper then, because you know he can go both ways from that angle.
Andre Silva is Milan's third penalty taker. Long run up from Andre Silva, right on the edge of the penalty area. And very calmly puts it in the opposite corner, to which De Gea went. No sign of anybody showing any nerves so far. De
Gea's going so early though, that's the... He's gambling, he really is going all or nothing and trying to read where they're going.
Now, 17-year-old Mason Greenwood.
This is incredible, his left foot, he takes penalties with his right foot.
And scores. Well, I thought the others looked really confident, but he's a teenager, taking a penalty with his wrong foot.
Now, I've seen him do it before, a left-footed player taking it with his wrong foot. Listen, talk about an iconic moment, World Cup final, Bremer doing it for West Germany. But for a young player to have such confidence, and it's not arrogance, it's not showboating, it's not to show that I'm the big I am, it's just utter belief that that's the best way for me to take a penalty to score a goal.
Rada Krunic next, another of the substitutes. Oh, that's the first time that either goalkeeper has got his hands to the ball.
Close enough, another one goes in for AC Milan by Rada Krunic.
Just waited that moment there, De Gea, and said, OK, can you beat me? He almost keeps it out. Talked about Krunic coming in as a new signing. He's quite vocal in saying how the weight of the AC Milan shirt has been difficult. Well, that's a good start for him scoring a penalty there.
From a 17-year-old for United to an 18-year-old, another substitute, Angel Gomez. This is a good set of penalties.
Brilliant penalty. Talk about confidence to go top corner. Reina's read it. He's got a strong left arm up there. Has to be to the roof of the net, and it was.
So that's 8 out of 8 so far. And other than a fingertip from David De Gea, no real sign of anyone missing. Here comes Daniel Maldini. His father and his grandfather were in pressure situations in their careers. And this one has got the better of him. De Gea's guessed the right way at just the right time, because there's only one more penalty left and for United to win it.
The crowd have realised who's about to take it as well. One of their own. We talked about De Gea just waiting. Say to that penalty taker, the pressure's on you. You have to hit the turner. You have to hit the corners. If you don't, I'm going to save it. And he did just that. This will be a popular penalty.
Well, he might be in Cardiff and he might have played for Swansea City, but he's getting a great reception.
He's Welsh.
One Daniel to another. James to win it for United. And he does it. Wow. It might not be the biggest tournament he ever plays in, but he'll remember that moment in front of 66,000 fans inside the Principality Stadium. Manchester United take 2 points. It's not enough to win the International Champions Cup, but they've won 5-4 in the shootout. And Daniel James got the decisive penalty. It's finished Manchester United 2, AC Milan 2. United win 5-4 after a shootout.